Yeah, there's no way they should be able to do those things that they do at their heights and positions. However, they're special. And today we're going to see if we can reach a conclusion on which of these aliens are better as of right now. So stay tuned, because this is going to be fun. First, we have to talk about their roles within their team on the offensive end. Victor Wembanyama is the Spurs' first option. Now, you could make the argument for him being the second option behind Devin Vassell, but Victor not only leads the teams in points per game, he leads them in total touches in the paint, and he's fourth on the team in touches per game, with the only players above him being the Spurs point guards, Jeremy Sohan, Trey Jones, and Keldon Johnson, who's kind of a mix of both. When it comes to Chet, he's the team's third option, and there's no question about it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Jalen Williams are the first two. And we're not going to mention Josh Giddey because, well, yeah, hopefully you get the picture there. Okay, enough of all the jokes and child's play, pun very much intended. It was important to establish both Victor and Chet's offensive roles before starting. So now let's get into it a little bit further. The first aspect of the game that we're going to compare is their post scoring. And yeah, just by looking at them, it's safe to say they don't spend much time in the post. Wembanyama averages 1.5 points per game in post-up situations. Holmgren averages 0.3. To be fair, Victor averages over 3 post-ups per game, while Chet only averages nearly 0. So Victor is in the post significantly more than Chet, while also being more efficient. From all of the games I've seen from the two this season, I would say the eye test agrees that Wemby has been better in this area. It's hard to say by how much though, because as I mentioned, Chet does not operate in the post almost at all. But even with that being said, Wemby is a solid post scorer. His footwork, fundamentals, and patience really stands out, which isn't really surprising due to him being a center for the Spurs, who housed one of the best post scorers of all time, Tim Duncan. You combine that footwork and patience with him being 7'3", and now you have someone who basically shoots open post shots every time he's down there. So let's stay in the paint, and let's compare who's the better roll man in pick and rolls. And that, without question, goes to Chet Holmgren. And yeah, it certainly helps that he's playing with Giddey and SGA, but the numbers are the numbers. Chet is currently in the top 10 in points per game as a roll man, averaging 4 points per game. Victor Wembanyama, on the other hand, isn't even near the top 25. Again, it's important to note that Trey Jones and Jeremy Sohan are entirely different from SGA and Giddey. That goes without saying. So given that, I would say they're neck and neck in this category, actually. For anyone who's watched a Spurs game this year, you know Victor is nearly unstoppable when he's rolling to the rim. He's a lob threat almost as soon as he crosses half court. This is what his teammate Zach Collins recently said when asked about him throwing lobs to him. I told him I'm working on it. It's funny, after one game I was like, damn bro, I'm just not used to throwing it that high. Usually if I throw it that high, it's a bad pass. And he told me, no one's thrown it too high yet. Now that is a cold response. When it comes to percentages in the non-restricted area, which is the spot just below the free throw line, Chet blows Wemby out of the water, shooting 53% on 2 attempts versus Wemby's 39% on 2 attempts. But okay, now let's extend it out a little bit further and go over their mid-range ability. As of now, Wemby is leading his team in mid-range shots, shooting 33% on 4 attempts per game. Holmgren, on the other hand, doesn't really shoot many mid-range shots. So just like the post-scoring category, this one's hard to measure. Both of them can effortlessly make them, no matter who's guarding them if we're being honest. But neither of them consistently attack the mid-range either. The only times they shoot them is when the shot clock is winding down or they get a long rebound, or maybe just in a long high post face-up situation. An area they do both focus on is the 3. However, Chet once again blows them out of the water in this category. Chet's already one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, shooting over 40% compared to Victor's poor 27%. Chet's dominance at the rim and the 3 makes him an extremely unique center. And honestly, right now, Chet is a top 10 center in the league. The only centers we personally would put over him are Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Rudy Gobert, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, Domantas Sabonis, and maybe even Nikola Vucevic. Other than that, I'm taking Chet over any other center. And yes, that does include Jarrett Allen, Miles Turner, and Nick Claxton. I just really love Chet's ability to space the floor. As we all know, traditionally, centers were predominantly confined to the paint, but the ability to shoot threes extends their range, forcing opposing big men to step out and defend. This creates more space near the basket, opening up opportunities for driving and scoring. A center who can shoot threes acts as a catalyst for ball movement. When defenders step out to contest the shot, it creates passing lanes for the offense. This leads to more dynamic plays, quick ball rotations, and open shots for teammates, especially when he knows how to pump fake and put the ball on the floor. A 7-foot guard penetrating the lane will immediately draw attention from all 5 guys on the defense, again opening up plays for others. And lastly, having a center who can shoot from long range adds a new dimension to an offense. It diversifies scoring options, allowing for pick and pop plays, where the center sets a screen and then pops out to shoot, making the offense more unpredictable and challenging to defend, something Chet excels at already. When it comes to who can assist the basketball better, both have a pretty good feel for the game. Chet's averaging 2.5 assists and Victor is averaging around the same. They both are solid passers in transition and in the post. Not game-changing passers like Jokic or Sabonis, but still better than the majority of centers in the NBA. Here's the thing though, Victor is averaging an insane 3.5 turnovers per game to Chet's 2. Victor's overall decision-making with the ball in his hands has been worrisome at times, especially during the very start of the season. And even now, he forces bad passes or is late on passes or he just loses the ball way too easily. So in this category, Chet takes it, although it could be different towards the end of the year as Victor gets more comfortable with the rock. When it comes to offensive rebounding, Victor takes it here. He's averaging over 2 per game in 30 minutes and Chet's averaging 1.6 in 30 minutes. But now let's get on to the next category where both of these giants make their biggest impacts, defense. The defensive end is where both of their value has been felt for their respective teams. Both of them have been borderline elite on this end of the floor. They're both among the league leaders in blocks per game, so we won't compare them based on that. What we will compare them based on is pure impact. Which player improves their team's defense more? When it comes to who anchors the paint better, here are the numbers. The Oklahoma City Thunder are top 10 in points allowed in the paint. The Spurs are in the low 20s. And it isn't like the Thunder have multiple great rim protectors either. The Thunder's best rim protectors outside of Holmgren are Jalen Williams and Kenrick Williams. Both Chet and Victor are by far the best rim protectors on their teams. And when I say by far, I really mean it. When it comes to overall defensive rating, the Thunder overtake the Spurs by a landslide. However, let's remember that Chet plays with Lou Dort, Cason Wallace, SGA, and even Jalen Williams, who are some of the better defensive players in the league at their positions. So I think it's safe to assume that the Thunder's positive defensive rating is spread out evenly when it comes to the reason why they're so good. And let's not forget that Victor plays with Sohan and Devin Vassell though. But still, OKC definitely is the more well-rounded defensive unit. But here's another thing. Chet is within the top 5 in contested shots per game, along with the likes of Joel Embiid, Brook Lopez, Nick Claxton, and Anthony Davis, the best rim protectors in basketball. So again, Holmgren's impact is showing up big. Being this high in contested shots just shows that he's always been in the right place at the right time. 2 steps ahead on rotations, and most importantly, he just gives effort. He also has a significantly higher defended field goal percentage than Wemby as well. So all in all, Chet Holmgren has been the most impactful defender of the two. Both have had 7+ block games, so they are already both historically great defenders when it comes to rookies. So with all of that being said, I think we all know who the winner of today's video is, and drumroll please, Chet Holmgren. Chet's been amazing this season. The fact that he's one of the best shooters in the NBA while also being a Defensive Player of the Year candidate just shows that this kid is legit. Not to mention, he has a 70% true shooting percentage. Right now, at this point, he is a better 3-point shooter, free throw shooter, and more efficient from the field than Wembanyama. Again, both are great, but Chet has played like an all-star this season. But I want to know what you think. Who do you think is the better player right now, and who do you think has the higher ceiling? Let us know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.